here with us. Cheers.
Hi, this is Neil with Graveside Paranormal Tours, gravesideparanormal.com, Graveside Paranormal on YouTube. How's everybody liking the tour tonight? Adam, are you here? Talk to us.
Hello everyone, this is Neil. How are you tonight? We are doing Spirits by the Graveside. I welcome you tonight. Spirits by the Graveside, we start off opening up our can of beer. Grab your can of beer, your special drink, or whatever else you drink. It doesn't have to be alcohol, but it's something that you enjoy. Sit back, relax. We have a wonderful guest tonight. Wendy Moxley Roe is going to be talking about Joliet State Prison, the hauntings of there. We're going to also talk about Bachelor's Grove Cemetery and stuff that goes on at that place as well. We're going to be talking about that. But let's talk about in the news today. Some of the things that I try to reach out and I try to look over and see what's going on in the world. One of the things that is going on in the world tomorrow at 3 o'clock in Rome, they are going to actually be doing a large prayer for an exorcism. I guess the priests and the bishops are going to get together. And I know that they've done this before. It's to basically try to... that there's an evil in the world. There's always an evil in the world. But I have to kind of admit, I think maybe it's a little stronger than what it used to be, or can I say it like that? I don't know. But let's just say that, is it due to the media that we watch? But nonetheless, they are going to be doing a prayer and doing the rite of exorcism tomorrow at 3 p.m. That is tomorrow in Rome and Roman time, whatever time that is, 3 p.m. their time. Another thing, I was looking at a thing. There was a guy by the name of Daniel Nems. Daniel Nems, he, I think in 2018, he's saying that he made an interdimensional portal, or you can see interdimensional beings through this. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. One of the things is it has to deal with dark matter. Dark matter, some people say it's mystical. Some people say it's physics. I don't know. I am not going to lie to you because I'm not very versed at it. What I'd like to do is reach out to somebody, and you could put it at neil@gravesideparanormal.com, where we can actually sit down and talk about it. I know a little bit, but why I read. I am not versed in it whatsoever, but I think it's a very interesting subject to talk about. I guess there's like 7 levels to a higher realm, or the interdimensional realms, that where there's other beings that you can see. I think it's more interesting stuff. At Graveside Paranormal, we like to talk about more than just ghosts and stuff like that. We like to talk about either the thing of Bigfoot or aliens or anything else that you guys would like to talk about. Anything paranormal or supernatural. Supernatural, I always like things like miracles and stuff like that. Let's move on. So, and what article did I find this week? Now, this one I think you're really going to enjoy. This is actually an article that I found back in 2013, and I had to put this in here because I thought it was very funny. Thousands of workers at a garment factory in Bangladesh stopped working, demanding a ghost be removed from the building. A lady who was working there believes that there's a ghost in the toilet. Yeah, that's what I said too. So supposedly, they asked for someone to come out there to get rid of the ghost that's supposedly in this toilet in Bangladesh. What it was causing sickness. I guess this has happened before in like factories for some weird reason, but they never ever found a real reason why it is. They could not find out if like there's something in the building that's causing this to make this lady sick. But all I know is that her condition to, let me read this right, attributed her condition to an attack by a ghost inside a toilet. All right, thought I'd share it with you. I think that's some good stuff to learn. You know, next time that me and Steve are out, actually that happened at Whispers of Stay. I heard the toilet. That's right, Steve. So a couple other things is, as you know, this is Good Friday for my Catholic friends out there. Good Friday to you. I hope I blessings to each and every one of you today. And then we got Easter. That's going to be on this Sunday. A couple other things. As you know, Graveside Paranormal. This is called Spirits by the Graveside, which is on Facebook. We also put little documentaries on our YouTube channel. You go to Graveside Paranormal on there. You can reach out to me and Steve at either Neil@gravesideparanormal.com or Steve@gravesideparanormal.com. Send us your pictures. The other cool thing we got going on this Sunday, we got pictures people can send into our emails, or you could place it on our Facebook page under what the heading that we put under. We want to see your best Easter eggs, but they have to be ghostly or paranormal, maybe supernatural. And what you could do is you'll get a $20 gift certificate. We'll figure out which gift certificate it is. But we will give that person a $20 gift certificate for the best egg out there. So make sure that you guys go ahead and put that out there. First off, I'd like to reach out to our guest tonight, Miss Wendy Moxley Roe. Give me one moment here. All right, I think here we go. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Hello.
Hello, Wendy. How are you?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right. Good. How's everything today?
Good, but cold.
Yeah, actually during the daytime it was a little bit better than what it was yesterday. Yesterday it was cold as heck. Yeah, I didn't like it yesterday.
And we've had some really nice weather in the 70s, and then all of a sudden we got like 47 today.
Yeah.
So it's a big change.
Right. So one of the things we invited you on here, we want to talk about a couple of things. One of the things is Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself first and how you got into the paranormal first?
Sure. So I am originally from the Baltimore area suburb, and I moved to Chicago in 2008. And in 2012, it was actually my daughter who had been reading about this place called Bachelor's Grove and kept wanting me to take her there. And so we went out on a Sunday in the end of August, and it was then that day that I met Carl there. And he kind of was into all of this before me, and that's how I got into that. I mean, my dad and my parents were always watching, ghost movies, and my dad was always talking about, local legends and, ghost stories, historical stuff. So it was something that I had grown up with, but when I met Carl there at Bachelor's Grove, it turned into more of an investigative thing, He opened those doors for me.
Good. So you've been interested for about how many years, you think?
Well, I mean, seriously, since 2012.
Yeah.
That's when all of it started with, Bachelor's Grove, and it just kind of,
clicked.
Yeah, it did. I always say that it came to me. I didn't know much about it before I went there, other than it was a supposed haunted, graveyard, and then, with Carl and some other people, it just kind of developed over the years into, our website, and
and
I discovered that I really, really like the genealogy part of it, the researching and the burials.
Yeah, and that's one thing I noticed about your website, thepathtobachelorsgrove.com. One of the things I noticed is that you take a lot of photos, and you really take in the essence and the beauty of that place and the forestry that's around there. I really enjoy your photos. It's really nice. Yeah, I see the other things that, like you like to go to a lot of cemeteries and this and that. And I see you go from state to state because you have a big interest in that. Right. Do you also like to talk about what certain tombstones mean? Like the design and stuff like that of tombstones.
Yeah, and that was one of the avenues when you start, when you meet someone and you start meeting other people and you start going and doing things. I've always liked to take pictures since, I was young. And then it just changed from that into cemeteries. And, it just kind of got into that a little bit.
Right.
And just kind of discovering the things you like to do.
That is so true. I started getting into the paranormal a long time ago when I was a kid, right? And then after my kids grew up, because I let it take a back seat, because you got to raise your kids, you got to take care of them. And then all of a sudden, I went forward with what I like to do, and I've been developing into what we're doing now, and I've been doing it on a full-time basis because, like you, something just clicked, and it's like that point in time it was just right in your life. It's just, and doing what we do is a lot of fun. Especially when you're looking up the history thing, like me and Steve will go out and I was looking at your website, and you guys really take a lot of time in your website and looking at the things and the pictures, and I had to give you kudos on that and say, hey, very good job. Go ahead.
We're pretty proud of it. I mean, that's us. We're animal people. We're nature people. It was part of the draw. What more can you say about the place? It's beautiful. For us, it's a peaceful place. Some people have their issues with it, but it's a nice setting there too. Lots of wildlife.
Yeah, it is a nice setting. What would you think would be the reason why people keep coming back? What is the draw, do you think? Why it's almost like a drug for some people.
It is.
And
that's one of the things we talk about a lot. Is there one reason? No. But, over the years and through some of the research that, Carl and I have done, he and I have talked a lot about we almost wonder if it's something pulling people in that feeds off of this energy that it pulls in. You know what I mean?
No. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like we talked on the phone before, and I was explaining to Bob last week. My theory on it is this: it's almost like a possession. And what I mean by a possession is like this. Back when it started getting popular, and back in the 50s and 60s, and people started noticing the orbs and and then other people started coming in and doing rituals in like the 70s, the 60s, and 70s. What they're doing is they're opening up things, okay? Right. So you're basically, you're going to oppress the land, just like a regular possession. So you get an infiltration, basically like, almost let's think like a house or something like that. A bunch of ants or insects come to a house, they start gnawing away at all the boards and this and that, and then what it does, the boards start breaking down. So does the land, almost like an oppression. And it keeps breaking down because people keep doing all these bad things. And then eventually what happens is, this is my opinion, then that's how the possession starts, because now you've just opened something you can't close. Right. And when you open that thing that you can't close, man, that's when the attachments, begins.
Yeah, and that's definitely Bachelor's Grove. There's something open there.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And if there was a thing I would like to go back in time and see the time when it was around, when people were actually, just so our viewers know, people used to go there and picnic. And they used to celebrate their loved ones. It was just a nice time. What is your most profound experience at the Grove, and what have you witnessed personally?
Well, that's the strange thing about me is that I always tell people, they always ask me this, and I've not seen apparitions, I've heard things, we've captured things on film. The most profound thing that happened to me, I say, was walking in there. There was more to it at the time when I went than just meeting Carl. I'd been here in Chicago for a few years, and I was doing well, but when I came here, I knew nobody. I had no friends. It was just me and my daughter. And when I met Carl there, everything seemed to fall in place. I met people. It really helped me. I used to be very introverted. Helped me kind of come out of my shell, and it was a profound experience for me. I had, the day before, been very upset about this exact thing, not having, a social life, not having friends. All I did was work. I really, literally broke down in tears the night before I went and prayed, which is something I don't do very often, that, something would just change for me a little bit, God just throw me a bone. And the next day we went, and literally I met Carl, and, it was a huge thing for me.
That's good. You know, that's really good.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has to find something that they like to do and get with other people. You know, and look what it's done for you. I mean, you got a book coming out soon. We're going to talk about that in a couple minutes. And I'm very happy for you.
Thanks.
So Bachelor's Grove, I know that I've had a lot of experiences there. Not a lot. I shouldn't use the word a lot, but I've had experiences there. I've heard when we're leaving Bachelor's Grove, because I'm kind of a sensitive. Not that I cry a lot, but what it is that I've heard girls' voices, but it's always in my left ear. On our Anahata box, we talked about that, how we get messages on the Anahata box. I have not seen anything. I have not seen one thing yet, and I'm not going to try to pretend that I did, because I never did. Do I think that there's something there? Yes, and I explained to you about the other thing.
Right. Yeah, see, that's me too. I haven't seen anything with my eyes. I've seen something. There was something that happened. I can't remember what year it was, but I was in there with Bill Swinford, and I had taken. Bill is a local guy that goes to the Grove a lot with his dog. For those that don't know, and he was there, and I had taken a friend of mine with to show the cemetery. And as we were all standing in the cemetery, this guy walks down and past the cemetery, and he's dressed full on in like 3-piece suit, black tie, shiny shoes, with a briefcase.
Really?
And he walks past the cemetery, and we're all like, what is he doing in here?
Look like a mortician.
Didn't really think too much of it. Went down past, to the area where the creek is and whatnot. But he never came out of there.
Really?
Yeah, we were there until almost sundown, which was hours later, and he never came out.
Yeah, I remember there was this one guy. He did a special there. I really don't know. He's an English guy. He did a special out there. I don't know if maybe that was him, because I know he dresses like that. He has like a hat and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, he had that out there.
Now, this guy looked like he just walked off of Wall Street with a cell phone in his hand and everything.
Really?
It was weird. And he just never came out. We were like, I don't know.
And I seen this one video of. Now, is Carl your husband?
No.
Okay.
Carl is just my partner in all things spooky. And the
all things spooky. Okay, I didn't know. So now I seen a video with you and Carl at the Grove where it seems like, and I've noticed this with other people as well, is that they have a problem either talking or they get upset. And one of the videos, this white orb goes like past him, and then it comes back. This video she has up on her thing, the Path to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. I was looking at that the other day, and I thought it was really, really interesting. I said, man, that's pretty good. You see, because you want to really look to see, is it a bug or anything like that? But
no, but the way that it moves, it doesn't move like a bug. And it changes direction, how do they say it, purposely a couple of times, which is not a dust particle either, or something like that. Because we had people say that, but I don't believe that, because that's one of the most significant things I think we caught on camera.
Yeah.
And having camera issues that day that we don't have all the time, but occasionally we do.
Right.
And that day my camera kept shutting off. And we specifically remember, because when we were reviewing the video later, Carl and I think it was like the next day, that's when we saw it. We saw nothing, when it was going on. And before the video had started, when we had first come in, Carl had said, show yourself to us. Come on, He does these things and says it out loud, and a little bit later is when we filmed that segment. So
yeah, and
they're listening.
Yeah, they are listening. That there's a fact. You see, like the attachments that happen there, I only get them when we do our tours, and when we're doing our tours, we go actually to the back end of the cemetery, because it's all about the land. It's not just, so everybody understands, it's not just the cemetery that's haunted. No. There's something about that land. We could talk about ley lines and stuff like that. I don't know if any ley lines are there. But remember, you have all the ingredients for a perfect haunting. You got those creeks right there. You got limestone. You got everything that you need there. You got history. You got residual memories that happens. So let's ask a couple of questions. Yay or nay? of which ones you think are real stories and which ones you don't think. And if you need to be descriptive by it, feel free. The caretaker story that he killed his family because he kept hearing voices in the woods, and eventually he killed his family. Yay or nay?
I believe there are roots to that story. And this is kind of where I kind of delve into the story a little bit more. I don't think it happened. I think that from newspaper articles that we've found, Clarence Fulton was a great grandson or great-grandson of, the man that's buried in the big Fulton stone there.
Correct.
And he said in an article that he used to hide in the cemetery waiting for these kids to come in so he could scare them off.
Right.
So I think that's how that got started. And somebody, I think, I don't think it was real. I think it was something that kids turned into, oh, my God, I saw this guy, with a light. And you know how that happens.
Yeah.
So, no.
Yeah, it's a story like anything other story. It's something that builds up momentum and continues on and changes up all throughout time. Another story, the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove picture.
The picture?
What do you think of that? Yes.
Well,
it's not to offend anybody. Everybody has their own personal opinions on things, and it's not to offend anybody.
Well, this is something that I specifically don't really talk about. But
okay.
No, I don't.
If you don't want to, that's fine.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it's real.
Okay.
I don't believe there was any forgery that happened into it. The only reason is when I look at it, I see an 80s layered hairstyle, and it looks like someone is sitting on the stone and holding something between their.
Well, you would definitely know layered hairstyle better than me, I'll tell you that. So
yeah.
You might be right.
So I don't. Now, the legend, I believe fully in the legend. I know that kind of probably sounds weird, but I know there are a lot of other sightings of, and there's actually a picture I was looking at today where this it looks like a white woman in a long white dress behind these people on the path. I do believe, that people have seen that and in that legend.
Right.
Just not the picture.
All right. What about what about the house?
Yeah, that one I believe in too.
I do too. I truly believe that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the weirdest things that happened to Carl and I was we were in the cemetery, and these people came in and said something to us after we'd been talking for a few minutes. Well, who owns the house, on the path? What are you talking about? There's no house. Yeah, come on, you're messing with us. No, there's no house on the path. And it freaked them out, So, yeah, I believe in that one. Really mostly from that incident and a few of the pictures that we've seen.
Yeah,
that have popped up.
I remember when we were going through there, me and Steve one day, we were just doing EVPs. This lady, I just bumped into them, and we just started talking. She was with her daughter, and she was telling me how when her daughter was younger, she saw this house and said, Mom, look at this. There's just so many eyewitness accounts.
Yeah, exactly.
So many eyewitness. Here's Sue right here. So,
yeah.
So many eyewitness accounts from very commonplace people. And people didn't even know what they were. And then all of a sudden, they give these stories. Take, for instance, Mr. Richard Crowe. He actually did an experiment, I think it was late 70s, early 80s, and he videotaped it. And he had two ladies go out there who never met each other and asked them to draw the house that they saw. And they were exactly the same. It's an amazing thing. I do believe that one. So I'm going to say yay on that one.
Yeah.
A couple other ones. Devil Dog. The devil dog that supposedly follows people out or two young boys out. You ever hear that one?
I've never heard it following, but I have heard of black dogs being sighted in there with red eyes.
Right.
And I read a lot, and I read this book about someone who specifically deals with, investigating cemetery ghosts. She's out of Texas. And legend, I've tried to find more roots behind it, and I would kill a dog and bury it in the early days of a cemetery before anybody was buried there so that the dog guarded the cemetery. So that's not something I've documented but read
been interrupted. All right, we're back again. Connection available. We were just talking about the dog. Sorry, everyone, but it does happen. Everybody's at home, all using Wi-Fi. Please continue, Wendy. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was done. Just the dog. They bury the dog in the cemetery before they bury the people.
Oh, okay.
And supposedly it becomes a guardian of the cemetery, the souls.
Right. Now, how many bodies are actually buried in Bachelor's Grove Cemetery?
Well, that's something that we don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
There were reinterments around the turn of the century because they started opening the other cemeteries, like Mount Greenwood. There is where some of them, I think, like
Mount Hope or Mount Olivet. Yeah.
Yes. Right. So they were opening more, up to date. This was kind of, it was like a family cemetery, a farmer cemetery. So. The burials, there's no definite number. That was one of the biggest things about the Grove is that they didn't keep official records, or if they did, they've been, no one has ever found them or they're long gone. It's rumored that there were 150 to 200 graves there originally. There was a lot of, in the 70s, they had kids in there digging up the graves.
That's what I'm talking about.
But I don't think it was I don't think they ever were successful, although they did find coffin handles in a burn pile there in the 70s.
Wow.
Where they had dug something up and then, tried to burn it.
Right. Now, I know that a lot of people there, they get this feeling of when they get home, like we talked about, attachments and stuff like that. And, they feel like differently than themselves. I try to actually tell people, if you don't have to go to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, don't go there. I mean, that's just me. It's just because I had the attachments and stuff like that. Have you ever had an attachment from there and you said no?
I've not, but Carl did.
Carl has?
Yes, and Carl was always, we're always have been a good team. He's more the one that has had the more experiences in there.
Oh, okay.
And has seen a few things and. I have this thing. I just think there are certain people who are able to see those things, and I don't think I'm one of them.
Yeah, it's some people do, and some people don't, and some people learn it as they go along. It's sometimes they suppress
sometimes I feel that way. Yeah. Like I should be seeing something. You get those feelings, but there's nothing there. So.
Right. What good EVPs have you gotten there?
There's another one on the YouTube channel that we have where the white form was. And one day we were sitting there and it was video, and I was just scanning. I was sitting on the stump there in the middle where they cut the split tree down and just, taking kind of a 360 of the cemetery for some filler footage. Mm-hmm. And we got this, I don't even know what it is. You'll have to listen to it. It's like the... No, I did
listen to it. I did. It was something that you could not really make out, but I did listen. I did hear that one.
There was nobody around. It was like the middle of the week, and we were there early.
It actually sounded like a machine.
It was really weird.
Yeah.
And then there was something after it. And it just was bizarre. Now, with the ghost boxes that we've had a lot of... Yeah, I just see that
Carl just sent a photo. How you doing, Carl? I do. If he wanted to jump on or anything like that, I'm fine with that. If he wanted to, I'm cool with that. Totally cool. Couple other things. You want to get into the Joliet State Prison? Let me just give a little backdrop.
Well, think about it. It's the same thing happened to me with Joliet Prison that it did with Bachelor's Grove. Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, that's why I think it fascinated me so much, is that they have a lot of similarities. They have the limestone there. They have the quarry.
Yes.
You've got this, it's a prison, so you've got murder, suicide, execution. Yeah. I mean, what better place for, anger and angst and violence?
You got all these traumatic events that are going on. And what happens is, you know what I do for a living. You know where I work. And I know that places like that, what it is the energy that builds up in there is so negative that that's what brings those things in. It's something. Now, we know that you got a book coming out in October, like we were just talking about, Haunted Joliet Prison. And you were just telling us about how you got into it. With not giving too much away from your book, because we don't want to do that, because we want to make sure you get all the sales that you can. Is there any little bit that you can share with us about some kind of story that you had there, or maybe Carl had there, or the group that you were with?
Well, actually, the coolest thing that has happened to me in all of doing this book, it started in 2014, and we went to Joliet Ironworks to meet a group for an investigation, and we ended up, long story short, we ended up finding a hole in the fence. The prison sits right behind the ironworks.
Hole in the fence at a prison.
Trees.
Hole in the fence at a prison.
I'm sorry, say it again?
You said a hole in the fence at the prison.
Yeah.
That's lack of security.
Yeah, well, it was shut down by then. But and it was before they started doing, a few years before the fires. It was a few years before they started doing anything, when it was still, really just abandoned. And there was a hole in the fence. We looked in this outbuilding, and we kind of made it around and in through the front doors. So we were going in, and Carl and this one other guy had taken off in there to the cell blocks, and I was too scared to really go forward. But as we finally went to go through the iron doors, 2 IDOC officers were coming out with big pump shotguns.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wow.
And they were very nice, very sweet men. They were just like, because we looked like tourists in there taking pictures. And he just said, "What are you guys doing in there, in here?" And he was like, "It's not safe." And that's all he said. They said, "You can't be in here." So we rounded up our gang and back out through the hole we went.
Yeah.
In the fence. But that's how it started, and I was just amazed with it. It has that air to it that you just can't put your finger on.
It's like a feeling.
This place is something, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the research began, and then, the book started last fall. And the biggest thing that happened, though, is that I had some, trip-ups in the time that I was doing this book, and I ended up in the hospital for a few days. And the guy that I ended up as a roommate with was actually in Joliet Prison.
No way. You see, that's awesome.
Can you believe that? That's a sign. I was sick and I was ready to give up.
Yeah.
And this guy, I was talking on the phone about the book, and this guy was like, "You're writing a book about I was in there for 4 years." And he told me the whole story. So some of his stuff is in the book,
cool.
But he brings together kind of some of my thoughts on, the Joliet prison and, what goes on in there and why.
Do you think
that he had?
Do you think there's earthbound spirits there or residual hauntings?
I think it's the residual haunting.
You do?
Yeah, I think it has to do with the stone. I talk a little bit about that in the beginning of the book, about the limestone. And, when you really think about it, I don't know how much you know about the prison, but the prison was quarried, that limestone right there on site. So they have a quarry that's right there across the street, and they shipped in the people from Alton, the prisoners, to build the prison up around them. So that in itself is it's a difficult thing, mining rock.
Right. Yeah, it's a difficult thing, I guarantee. I've never done it, but they look hard.
Yeah. And, just some of the hauntings that have happened there over the years.
All right.
And the things that are in the book,
Right. If you were to go back in time to a time of the prison, about what time era do you think you would go back to? I know it's an off the wall kind of question, but that's kind of my thinking sometimes.
I know, definitely. I'd go back 1915.
1915?
Yeah. The warden's wife at the time, he was one of the most, he's the one that installed the honor system there. He was very well loved. He married this woman a few years before he was appointed warden, she was a singer with this company and well-known. They were both well-known prison reformists. And she was murdered there at the prison.
Really?
Up until it was the law. Up until I think it was sometime, I'm going to say in the 30s maybe, that the warden had to live on premises. So they lived there in the administration building, which is that front part there. The two, I think it's the second and the third floor, they said, were the warden's quarters at the time. And it was a big mystery. I go into detail about the story, but it was sad. But, you know, she's one of the ghosts that they think, you know, walks the halls there still.
Yeah,
so I would go back then because I'd love to know what happened. They blamed one of the inmates was this guy, but I don't really think he did it.
Yeah. Huh.
So, yeah.
Now, another question.
It's a whole big
I'm sorry.
mystery.
Yeah, wow. Now, there was a lot of inmates that went there are notorious in Chicago, okay?
Yeah.
We'll just say John Wayne Gacy, okay?
Right.
We'll say, what was the name of the guy who killed all the nurses? Sorry, Sue.
Speck.
Yeah, Richard Speck. I'm sorry, that didn't get past my mind.
Okay.
Guys like him. But out of all of them, is there a particular inmate that was there that you would have liked to at least interviewed?
Let me think.
Or a person that worked there at one time?
I would probably think I would interview Gacy. But see, that's the big thing about Joliet, though, too, is that, you know, Stateville is right there
Right.
as well. And
Yes.
there's some confusion. Like, Gacy was only in the old prison for, I think they said 21 hours when he was processed.
Mm-hmm.
And before he went to, what was it, Pontiac, I believe.
Well,
But,
everybody, when they first come out of, when they first leave county, they all have to go to Stateville, I know, as a transition,
Right.
to transition.
Yeah.
And then that's when they're sent out to outlying prisons. That I
Right.
do know.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing. So you would want to interview John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I you would have to.
Would you ask him to?
I mean, they had a lot of people that were in there, but he's just in such a category of his own.
Would you ask him to dress up in a clown outfit, though?
No, I think that would probably freak me out more than anything.
I had to ask that.
Yeah.
What about I believe it's called the Joliet Crooner story? Am I correct?
That's a big
No,
one. And
that's a very interesting story. If you want to, please tell us what it is.
Yeah, so that's in the book, and that's kind of, it's a little bit edited version. I had written a blog about it at the beginning of this year. And one of the stories that really just got me into doing more research is 1932. There's an old convict cemetery. Now, a lot of people get this confused.
And I'm one of them.
Illinois,
I'm one of them. I got it confused.
Yeah, with the ISP cemetery that is over, and then there's is it Caton Farm Road, I think it's called?
Yeah, Caton Farm Road.
Yeah, so that's not Monkey Hill. That's not the convict cemetery.
And that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I did too at first. It took me a lot of digging to figure this out.
Right.
So that one was started by one of the wardens. I think they started burying people over there in 1925 when they opened Stateville. But this cemetery is gone. It's nobody, well, the Historical Society and them, they think they know where it is, but it's one of those things that it's overgrown.
Right.
When the story happened in the 30s, it was already dilapidated and abandoned. And they only had the wooden markers, so those things don't last very long anyway. But it used to be that there was a neighborhood that kind of backed up in there somehow, and they heard this ghost. It started with a lady whose the cemetery was right outside her backyard, and they heard this ghost sing.
Wow.
And it would happen every night at like midnight or so, and all of a sudden, like thousands of people started driving in to see it, hear it sing.
Yeah.
And it became a huge problem. And then all of a sudden after, these posses searching for the person, searching for the voice, all of a sudden the officials say, oh, we found him. It's this dude that's, an inmate. He's, he's been singing down in the quarries. And so that kind of ended it. But the funny thing is that the guy was getting out on parole. And, the biggest question has been, well, how could they hear this 3/4 of a mile away?
Right.
Hear this singing, but nobody heard the really loud sub pumps that they run in the quarry. Apparently,
Mm-hmm.
and this is one of the questions. So, it died down, but
yeah, because they thought it was
it could be that,
You know what I would love to do is if one of these days you can show me and Steve where it's at. I would love to bring the Anahata box out there.
I would too. I don't even know where it is.
Oh man, I would love to.
Yeah,
because we went to that other cemetery, that the ISP.
Yeah,
that's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
and
everybody does. And Carl and I went over there as well. We did a box session there. There's some old, dilapidated buildings. If you kind of walk, I don't even know, past the trees where the cemetery is.
Mm-hmm.
From the prison a long time ago, and we poked around over there and did a ghost box session, but that's a different one. And the Monkey Hill, no one has been in there. It's actually, I believe, still on prison property.
Yeah.
And so it's not accessible to anyone.
What about people who have been attacked? I seen a video of a guy being attacked at the prison, someone who got in there.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of any stories of people being attacked in that prison? Or is that something we shouldn't talk about? Wait for the book.
No. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was a part of the original group that went in there.
Yeah.
And I don't believe any.
That's why we ask the questions, so we can get the
right.
answers.
Yeah, no, I don't. I know exactly the video, but.
So when your thing comes out in October, your book comes out in October.
Yeah.
And do you have a date yet set?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Especially with all this COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Things are slowed down in that department too. So.
Yeah, you know what's weird about that is the whole COVID thing, and we'll get right back on subject. But it's how the similarities between the 1920s and 2020 is going on. All the bars are shut down. There in 1918 there was an epidemic. It's just, it's so many similarities in history over 100 years, it goes by and all of a sudden this happens again. But we'll get right back on subject. Back to you, Wendy. Well, if you want to give the full name of your book, and please give us all your websites so that everybody can go and visit. And I'm assuming that you'll have a link to buy the book when you do it.
Yeah,
and we're going to link it up with ours as well. We'll link it up with ours as well to help you out. Because we like to help those who help us.
Yeah, we love you guys.
So if you want to give out your go ahead.
Yeah, so we have the original, thepasttobachelor'sgrove.com. And on thepasttobachelor'sgrove.com is where I've put space for the Haunted Joliet book and some of the stuff I'm posting, so you can check that out there. We have the Past Bachelor's Grove on Facebook and the Haunted Joliet on Facebook. Mine is the one with the color picture as its profile pic. And I'm trying to think what else. There is a blog site for Tombstone Travels. That's where I wrote the original. It's just some ghost cemetery stuff.
Oh, and you know what? I like the things that you like doing. I appreciate it every time when she goes out. She goes and goes through different state to different state. Am I correct? And she takes pictures of all these different cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so next time you come on, why don't you have Carl come on with us?
Yeah.
And I think that would be a lot of fun. And me and Steve and the rest of Graveside Paranormal would love to be able to hang out with you guys one of these days and be able to check out some things. So once again, this is Wendy Moxley Roe. Haunted Joliet Prison will be coming out in October. Wait for the link. Hopefully we'll have it on our gravesideparanormal.com. Wendy, I thank you for coming on today. Say hi to Carl for me. And God bless you and your family, and I hope you have a happy Easter.
Yeah, you too, Neil.
All right, thanks again.
Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was Wendy. I think that was a great conversation that we had. That was an awesome conversation. I would love to get together with those guys and be able to go on some kind of thing with them. I think it would be really, really cool. We do have a phone number. The number is 708-227-7747. Once again, 708-227-7747. Give us a call if you got a question for me. Well, I'm drinking my beer. Feel free to call at this time or go ahead and put a message up there at any time. Let me see. Hi, Neil. Love your videos during this stay-at-home crisis. This is from Gabriella. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, look. We got ourselves a phone call. Let me see what we got here. Spirits by the Graveside. This is Neil. How may I help you?
My name is Mitch Jenkins. I'm a long-time listener. Second-time caller.
Mitch, you're the guy from last week who called.
Oh, you remember me?
Yeah, how can you not remember you? You talked about the Bigfoot story.
Bless your heart. That makes me feel so good that you remember my call.
All right, what's going on, dude? What's going on?
Well, I'm out here in Nimblewill, Georgia, Lumpkin County.
That's right, you did say that.
And, I caught on to your discussion earlier. By the way, that Wendy Moxley Roe.
Yes.
What a great interview. I'm getting that book.
Definitely gonna get that book. That's a guarantee.
And I might not be able to read all of it, but
you'll do your best.
I'll have someone help me with it, with the big words. But that book. You know when you're going to have a audio book?
One of those audio books? I'm sure they'll come right after. They usually do. They usually do, yeah. I like audio books when I'm going for like long rides and stuff like that. They're informative.
But this call, that was a great call. Earlier, you talked about that toilet ghost.
Yes, the toilet ghost. That is odd.
Well, they got 1,000 workers demanding the toilet ghost be removed. All they got to do is take one of them 2,000 flush tablets and bring it to a priest. Have that thing blessed and drop it right in the tank. We had a toilet ghost.
That is one smart idea. Grab that 2,000 flushes, put it in the unit, but before you do that, have it blessed by a priest. You know what? That is one of the smartest things. Damn right.
And just like, you take it and you put it in the toilet, just drop it in, say, take it, be gone. And the rest of the 2,000 flushes, you're going to have a clean tank and no ghosts.
Damn right. Mitch, that's an awesome idea.
Also, I just wanted to mention, I'm super excited about your next conversation about extra dimensions.
Yeah, I would like to. You know what? That's actually, thank you very much. I would love to have people to email me if you want to talk about dimensions, dark matter, or anything like that deals with that realm. Feel free. What about you? Do you know anything about that, Mitch?
Well, I've been interested in extra dimensions for a long time, and matter of fact, I like my women to have some extra dimensions on them. But
really?
Outside of that, sometimes I take a walk in the woods out here in Nimblewill, Georgia, and if you walk too far, you're going to find yourself in some peculiar paranormal situations.
Yeah.
And
like what?
You got to be careful if you don't wander into one of them extra dimensions. I was out there with Carol Baskin once. We were walking her tiger, and we were walking pretty far, and then she stopped me, looked me dead cold in the eyes, and said, "Mitch, don't step in that tiger shit." And I said, "Carol, what about that extra dimension over there? I don't want to walk into that." She played dumb.
She played dumb.
But yeah, there are extra dimensions out there. You got to make sure. I think we entered an extra dimension. I think that this virus is part of that. I think maybe there's a dimension where that don't exist. What do you think?
I don't know. Mitch, I have to be honest with you. I do not have an answer to that one. Did it come from another dimension? I don't know. What I was told, it came from a bat from Wuhan, China. There is a video out there of people eating bats in Wuhan, China. It's pretty disgusting. I'd rather just go to McDonald's myself, if you could.
I know something about where it came from, and I read it on the internet, so I know it's true.
What's that?
And it had to do with that bat suit, like you said. So
yeah.
it was I read that on CNN.
Oh well,
So
there you go. There's the truth. Well, Mitch,
Anyway,
go ahead, Mitch.
I'm really enjoying your show, and I like to hear some other callers call in.
Yeah,
and,
so would I. If
you.
some people want to call
Much
in, Mitch,
appreciated.
if some people want to call in, the number is 708-227-7747. Our show at least has another 5 to 10 minutes left. Or if you guys want to talk about a subject, I'm more than happy to sit here and talk. God knows I got a case of beer downstairs, so I have a long night ahead of me. So, Mitch, I want to say, hey, have a happy Easter, buddy.
You too, and may it Lord in your life. And I know as a paranormal investigator, that's important.
Oh yeah, very invested, very important.
It's praise Jesus on this Easter, everybody. I hope you're all safe, and stay safe, everybody. Don't go out there. Don't
All
go
right.
out there unless you need to.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jenkins. You have a happy Easter.
God bless.
All right, bye-bye. Well, that was Mitch Jenkins, our second-time caller. One of the things is next week we are hoping to have a demonologist on for next week. I know a man who is very knowledgeable in things like this. Because I'm more like a guy, jack of all trades, where I just know a little bit about everything, master of none. That's why we try to ask the questions here on Graveside Paranormal, Spirits by the Graveside. Once again, thank you, Wendy Moxley Roe, for being on today. We do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, join the Easter egg hunt thing that we are doing. Decorate your favorite Easter egg. Go on Graveside Paranormal on YouTube. We have a new video up there. We went to, I think, 4 or 5 different cemeteries, me and Steve, with Yana Hottabox. We went to the graveside of Mary Alice Quinn. It's very interesting, the message that we got from the tombstone of Mary Alice Quinn. And also Anna Maria Norcus. That one there, people always speculate about where was she originally buried. We may have gotten the answer. So go on our YouTube channel and also send questions to Neil at Graveside Paranormal. Let me just see if we got any those before I do get off, because I don't want to take away from anybody who does try to get out here to talk to us or anything like that. Nope, not this time, because I did get an email last week about a guy who wanted to talk. So I'm going to say goodnight to you all. God bless you all. Happy Easter. My uncle who passed this year, let me just say this. He came up with a song a long time ago. It kind of traumatized all of us kids. But I want to share it with everybody today. Now, here I go. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. The Easter bunny has broke his leg. There's blood all over them Easter eggs. Happy Easter. Yeah, that traumatized all of us cousins as a kid. But I had to share it for the memory of him because he told us all that. God bless his soul. God bless all your souls. Happy Easter. I'll kick you in the keister. Bye-bye.